Hello, and we're here live with Aortic Hope. It's Monday, and so we're joining you live to go over the last week's information. September is Aortic Disease Month. We have two of our members will be traveling to the United Kingdom to participate. Well, they were supposed to participate in a Think Aorta conference over there, but because that was supposed to take place the same day as the funeral for the Queen, it has been canceled, but they are still going to travel over there to represent us and participate in a dinner that will take place with just a few of the board members from the United Kingdom Think Aorta. So we'll be following up with that to give you lots of information. But I wanted to let you know that anyone joining today will have their name submitted for a random drawing at the end. All you have to do is participate in the chat, drop your questions, your comments, your experiences, or join us live. And at the end, we're going to have a random drawing for a $25 gift certificate to Lauren's Hope. Lauren's Hope is a medical bracelet that has the medical alerts sign on it, and then the back of it has your information. The thing I really like about Lauren's Hope is that you can buy, there's many different ways to do it, but what I chose this time was I have just the metal piece right here that has all my information on it, and I don't know if you can see the clasp or not, but I can change out the actual bracelet for different looks. But they have so many different kind, and they're great about helping you understand what to put on your Lauren's Hope bracelet. Like I needed to make sure that one of the pieces of information I wanted to relay was that I can't have any kind of procedures in my left arm. So they helped me understand how to word it and get all the information on there. If you need 2 phone numbers, what to leave off, if you want just 1 phone number, how much space you have. I just started wearing this. I travel about 2 hours a couple times a month by myself to visit my family, leave Delaware to come into Maryland, and it feels better knowing that that information is on me if I were to have a medical emergency or an accident. So check them out, laurenshope.com. They have sales all the time, but they are a partner with us, and we really appreciate them. So let's start out. Labor Day was Monday, so we didn't have anything that day. We took the day off of laboring. So we're going to start out with Topic Tuesday. And on Topic Tuesday, we shared information related to the thoracic aneurysms for Aortic Disease Awareness Month. And thank you to the Society of Thoracic Surgeons for collaborating with us and not only sharing with the community information about Aortic Hope during Aortic Disease Awareness Month, but also for having a website link dedicated to patients that is filled with incredibly easy to read information. And then there's a link there that you can go directly to that site. It will help you understand the terminology that your doctors are using, help you ask questions, and just be more knowledgeable about your medical diagnosis. A thoracic aortic aneurysm is an expansion or ballooning of a section of the aorta within your chest that slowly degenerates. The aorta, the body's main blood vessel, starts at your heart and extends all the way to your pelvis, where it branches off towards your legs and actually goes even further past there. The larger the aneurysm, the higher the risk it may rupture, leading to damage of the aortic wall and bleeding that could cause death. And listed in the patient guide for the Society of Thoracic Surgeons website is this information. Many factors potentially can contribute to the development of an aortic aneurysm, and is often difficult to determine the exact cause. Some of the most common conditions associated with aneurysm formation are congenital or genetic causes for a weakness of the artery wall, which can be present from birth. Changes in your aorta due to advanced age, connective tissue disorders, inflammation of your aorta, hardening of the arteries, where fat, cholesterol, and other substances clog your arteries, injuries from a fall or a motor vehicle accident, untreated infections such as syphilis and salmonella, and in some cases, aneurysms run in families and are classified as familial. So several family members, your extended families, may be affected by aneurysms in different locations. I'd like to add to this too, you're also at risk if you've ever had a dissection. You are followed for the rest of your life for any aneurysms, because obviously the dissection was an aneurysm usually before you dissected. Often thoracic aortic aneurysms do not cause any symptoms because they usually develop slowly over time. However, if an aneurysm is big enough to put pressure on surrounding structures within your chest, you may experience symptoms as hoarseness, trouble swallowing, swelling in your neck, pain in your chest or upper back, nausea and vomiting, or a rapid heart rate. I will say, so I had a dissection in 2019, March of 2019. Obviously, I survived and have been monitored ever since. And I did not have any symptoms when I developed an aneurysm after my dissection. So I developed what was called a pseudoaneurysm. So instead of like a little like bump out of your or swelling of your aorta, mine developed into, it was like a balloon. So with every heartbeat, there was a thin balloon that was coming out from that thin wall that was left. I did not have any symptoms, but I can tell you that I felt much better after I had it repaired. So there is a link for additional information if you are being followed for an aneurysm, or if you have a family member that's being followed for an aneurysm. And Wisdom Wednesday. So Wisdom Wednesday, again, was following the Aortic Disease Awareness Month. And today it's about abdominal aortic aneurysms. While not necessarily as life-threatening or uncommon, AAAs, as commonly known, can still pose an issue for the body. Check out the information titled Abdominal Aortic Aneurysm is called AAA. The Mayo Clinic and their medical staff explain in detail more information about it. So, and you can look at the diagram here to help understand where that occurs in your body. An abdominal aortic aneurysm is an enlarged area in the lower part of the major vessel that supplies blood to your body, obviously the aorta. Depending on the size of the aneurysm and how fast it is growing, treatment varies from watchful waiting to emergency surgery. And the symptoms of that would be abdominal aortic aneurysm often grow slowly without noticeable symptoms, making them quite difficult to detect. Some aneurysms never rupture. Many start small and stay small. Others grow larger over time, sometimes quickly, and that's why it's so important to be monitored. And if you have an enlarging abdominal aortic aneurysm, you might notice deep constant pain in the belly area or the side of your belly, the back pain, or a pulsing sensation near your belly button. And here are some facts. Every year, 200,000 people in the US are diagnosed with abdominal aortic aneurysm. A ruptured abdominal aortic aneurysm is the 15th leading cause of death in the country and the 10th leading cause of death in men older than 55. And as we know, family history is very important. That's why we've partnered with Think Aorta over the last several years. Aneurysms run in families. If a first-degree relative has had a AAA, you are 12 times more likely to develop an abdominal aortic aneurysm. Of patients in treatment for repair of a AAA, 15 to 25% have a first-degree relative with the same type of aneurysm. So again, there's a link for you to follow. And if you do have this and you're in the wait and watch mode, click on that link, look at the diagrams, ask questions so that you can ask questions for yourself when you go to your doctor's appointments, learn the terminology so that you can understand your reports. And Therapeutic Thursday, again, Aortic Disease Awareness Month. And this time we're talking about from the Society of Thoracic Surgeons. Although aortic dissection is relatively uncommon, it is the most frequent emergency related to the human aorta. It affects approximately 3 people out of every 100,000 each year, most often in men with high blood pressure in their 60s and 70s. An aortic dissection occurs, and I love later on we're going to read about the paper towel analogy. So aortic dissection occurs when the innermost layer of the aorta tears and blood surges through that tear. Younger patients with inherited connective tissue disorders, such as Marfan syndrome, and patients with bicuspid aortic valves, which is 2 leaflets on the valve instead of 3, also are more likely to develop an aortic dissection. Consider the following analogy. I wish somebody had explained this to me the day I had my dissection instead of the way it was explained to me. The aorta is like an unopened roll of paper towels. The cardboard would be the intima, the innermost layer of the aorta through which the blood flows. The layers of paper towels would be the muscle and the connective tissue surrounding the intima, and the plastic wrapper around the paper towels would be the added strength layer. Using the paper towel analogy to describe aortic dissection, a tear would occur in the cardboard tube, causing the blood to plow through both the cardboard and the paper towels, where it would create a false channel, which we know is called as the false lumen. So you have the true lumen and the false lumen, and that's what they're calling the false channel. The blood would either be contained by the plastic wrapper, or the plastic wrapper would burst, which then is the aortic rupture, which is much more devastating than a dissection. If you rupture, I can't imagine your chances to survive with that. So that we credit the paper towel analogy to Dr. Thomas McGillivray, and out of Houston Methodist Hospital. But I really like that description because so often the description is used as using a garden hose, and a garden hose does not have the layers and the thickness of the layers the way the paper towel analogy uses. And I just think you get a much better realistic description about what happened to you if you have survived a dissection. Why do people get aortic dissections? Aortic dissections may occur for several reasons, including genetics, chronic high blood pressure, high cholesterol, smoking, trauma, and illegal drug use. I know when I went in for at the time when they first diagnosed me and they were trying to understand why it happened, I was asked if I had high blood pressure. My answer was no. I asked if I had been drinking Monster drinks, the energy drinks on any kind of regular basis or within the few hours before I arrived, and my answer was no. And then, of course, the street drugs can raise your heart rate so high that you can have the dissection. Some people are born with alterations in specific genes that affect development of the aortic wall and predispose the aorta to enlarge or dissect. Syndromes that are associated with certain genetic defects include Marfan, Lewy Dietz, Ehlers-Danlos, and familial thoracic aortic aneurysms. There's several other ones, but these are the ones that you hear about the most. I did have genetic testing along with most people that go through and survive an aortic dissection, or even the wait and see, knowing that you have an aneurysm. It's always important to go have that genetic testing to give you more information. But like me, many people, nothing comes back, because it's not that there isn't a genetic link, it's just that it hasn't been found yet. So a bicuspid aortic valve is a marker for connective tissue syndrome and may be associated with valve problems, aortic root aneurysms, and ascending aortic aneurysms. These aneurysms have the potential to result in an aortic dissection. Chronically uncontrolled high blood pressure can put stress on the aortic wall over time and can lead to aneurysms and dissection. Patients with blood vessel disease related to years of high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and smoking can develop a calcification or ulcer of the aorta that may become the site where the dissection occurs. The aorta may dissect or rupture from trauma, such as during a high-speed motor vehicle accident or fall from a significant height. Additionally, cocaine and methamphetamine can increase the likelihood of an aortic dissection. I'd like to go back up to the high blood pressure. We often tell the members in our community to please don't take your medication just when you're not feeling well. If you have been prescribed blood pressure medicine, is extremely important to take it on a regular basis at the same time every day. Don't skip, don't stop. So how do you know that you have an aortic dissection? The most common symptom is severe pain, often described as a tearing or ripping feeling in the chest. The pain may radiate to the back or move down toward the abdomen. Because aortic dissections can affect the aortic valve or blood flow to any of the blood vessels that branch from it, you can also experience various other symptoms that would not necessarily lead you or your physician to suspect a problem with the aorta. I thought I had a blackberry stuck in my throat right here, right below my collarbone. If the arteries that supply blood to the heart are affected, you would have chest pains that might feel like a heart attack. And if the branches of the brain are affected, you would have symptoms of a stroke, such as difficulty with speech, inability to move one side of your body, or loss of consciousness. And you can see why so many people are misdiagnosed when you first go into the emergency department. If the branches to the arms or the legs are affected, you could develop numbness, tingling, or pain in your arms, or inability to move your arms or legs. I lost the feeling in the back of my legs, and that's when I kind of got scared. At first, I just thought I had a blackberry stuck in my throat, and it was very, very painful. It felt like about the size of my fist. And when I stood up and walked to go get a family member, I lost the feeling in the back of my legs, and that's when I knew that something was pretty wrong. If the arteries to your spinal cord are affected, you might not be able to move your legs. I was able to move my legs. Blood flow to the liver and kidneys may be affected. This would not necessarily cause symptoms, but could show up in laboratory studies from a blood sample. Additionally, if the aortic valve becomes severely leaky because of the dissection, you might feel like you can't breathe. And I hear a lot of people, that seems to come up a lot in our Survivor series. People describe the feeling of not being able to breathe. So you can go to the Society of Thoracic Surgeons website, and you can find lots of information there. And this is where I'd also like to remind you to think aorta, think family. If you've had a family member with aortic disease, everybody in your family should be followed. If it's you, then ask that as birthday gifts, as Christmas gifts, as whatever gift. I asked for both of my daughters and my sister. That was a birthday gift to me the year after I had my dissection, and I started understanding how important it was for my one sibling, a sister, and my two daughters to be checked. And they kept putting it off and putting it off. I think they just didn't want to know. So I asked that as my birthday gift, and everybody did it. They all complied. So that made me really, really happy. Okay, let's go to Friday fundraiser day. So we do fundraisers the first Friday of every month, but we are running something all month for the month of September, since it is aortic disease month. And we have that Help Belt partnership that has been great. We probably send out, I don't know, 10 of these a month or more. So with every $15 donation you make, you can see the picture there, you can choose the type of help belt that fits you best. We have just the generic medical alert, all the way to, we have abdominal, we have ones that just say aortic dissection, any of your aneurysms. We have, I believe, the Louis Dietz and Marfan. So, and we've had people that have just bought them the medical alert just for their families members with other issues. But these seatbelts are bright and eye-catching. The covers are real thin. I don't even know that I have it on me. They Velcro, and it says on there that there's medical information inside. So first responder can pull it open and pull out your card, and your information is on there. And you can make it as individualized as you want. You can fill it out the way for what the way they have it, or I whited out some things and added some different things. I wanted different phone numbers on there. And first responders actually do pay attention to these things. Autism is very prevalent in our world right now, and this really started out with children with autism, since they couldn't speak, and parents wanted their children to be taken care of if there happened to be an accident. I know where I live, we're very close. Well, my hometown, we're very close to the Pennsylvania line. So my hometown is in Maryland. I worked here. I worked in the school system. And I actually worked with babies under 3 through the school system that had developmental delays. We had a family that went over the Pennsylvania line for a Sunday drive, had an accident. Neither one of the parents could speak. Were both unconscious. There was the emergency response people had no idea who to contact to come get the children. The children ended up being put in foster care overnight. Since the parents couldn't tell them who to come get their children. So these help belts have been around for a long time, and first responders do know to look for them. The woman who invented them or started manufacturing them, that's where it came from. And here's some of the options that you can choose from, are all listed there that I was just explaining to you. And so if you're interested, the link is right there. It's real easy for you to do. The turnaround time is usually pretty fast. Right now, if you happen to go there today and put an order in, it might take a little bit longer because the person doing them, like I said, is not in the country right now. So she won't be back for a couple more weeks. So give her some grace. Okay. And you know that we do our Survivors series. We always say be a shining light for someone else and share your story. So the story of Mimi Fisher was interesting. She was born in New York, but then she moved overseas. I can't remember where she lived, but yeah, this is a really good one. She had a dissection, and everybody's story is different. I have a daughter that's getting ready to deliver a baby, and she was due last Friday, and she's in that, like, I'm tired of this, stage, and everybody's giving her advice of how it happened to them. And I keep telling her everybody has their own story, and the same thing is true for aortic dissection. Everybody has their own story, and just because it happened to somebody else doesn't mean it's going to happen that way for you. But what we have found in our community is by reading other people's stories, you have that connection. You can find tricks of the trade that they use to get through it, or even understanding that, hey, you're not the only one who feels that it was an emotional impact, not just a physical impact. So if you are new to our community, please go read these stories, because you can learn so much and you'll walk away feeling so much better about being a part of our community. And then survivors, Survey Sunday. So we're happy to announce again that we will be assisting the Department of Psychiatry at Maimonides, you got to say it really fast, Medical Center, with distributing their survey, which will help the study in the impact of aortic disease on mental health and lifestyle. And it is significant, and the impact is much more significant than any doctor ever imagined. And so they've been doing this survey for a couple of years now. I'm going to say this is the third year. And even if you've done the survey before, they want to know how you've progressed. So please go take the survey. It's helping them provide a really accurate picture of the emotional and mental health for individuals that are impacted with aortic disease. So Dr. Ben Yodelman is a part of this, and he has been presenting at some of the conferences, and the information was staggering. He was even taken back by not just the severity of the impact on your life, but how long the effects lasted. It's not resolved in 6 months. It's not resolved when you leave the hospital. And it ebbs and flows, and it changes. And we've even noticed that, just like the grief cycle, you can get stuck in certain stages. So you might get stuck in the anger stage or the why stage. But the more information that you can give honestly, and you don't put your name on it or anything, I think the only thing they ask is how long ago was your, what you had, and then like if you had an aneurysm dissection, how long ago since you've been diagnosed are the only two like really personal things they ask. And then after that, it's like on a daily basis in like the last 4 weeks, so that it'll say like the last 2 weeks. Have you found that you're doing less, or you're participating less, or you're participating more? Have you found your spark from all of this? I don't want to say that everybody has a mental health issue and never recovers. I know myself, I feel like the first year, I spent that first entire year recovering physically. Mentally, I didn't even know I was a mess. I was a mess, but didn't even know I was a mess. So I was so far behind the 8 ball. That second year is when I started understanding the mental impact that I had, the emotional and mental impact that I had, and I started seeking some help. For me, I found EMDR, which is a technique that can be used through trained professionals. I went to a social worker. It's EMDR, and I just had these awful fears of if I left the house that something was going to happen to me. I had a terrible fear of needles. If I would go back into certain doctor's offices, I would kind of like transport myself mentally somewhere else, and I couldn't even answer questions. I couldn't make decisions. So if those things are happening to you, it's not unusual. And there is help. You just need to seek it out. So that was last week. I'll be joining you next Monday also, because like I said, Karen will be out of town. So I don't know if anybody has joined us or not. Can't see in the chat.
We will roll.
Okay, we did have some people join. Yay. So we're going to roll now. And Okay, we're going to roll it into next week. So anybody that joins us next week will be eligible for that $25 gift card. And I hope that we see you. So have a great week. Bye.